Professor Dave again. Let's revisit fare.
He knows a lot about all kinds of stuff. Professor Dave explains.
We just learned how to use lasciare and an infinitive, so let's do the same thing with fare. When we have some form of fare followed by an infinitive, we may have a couple of different constructions. The first will have an idiomatic meaning that is similar to lasciare, or dare il permesso, implying that the person that the verb fare applies to is allowing or giving some kind of permission to someone else. The other construction, which is very different, is called costruzione causativa. Let's look at a few examples to understand what these constructions mean. Il papà non mi fa guidare la sua macchina nuova. This is the same as il papà non mi lascia guidare la sua macchina nuova. I miei genitori non mi fanno uscire la sera. Again, this is the same as I miei genitori non mi lasciano uscire la sera. As we can see, in this context, fare has shifted from its typical meaning to do, and has a meaning more like to let or allow, just like with lasciare. But the main use of the verb fare is more often a construction with the infinitive used to express the concept of persuadere, to persuade, costringere, to obligate, or convincere, to convince. This is called fare causativo. This usage for the verb fare can be found when someone is trying to get someone else to do something. In such a construction, the person acting as the subject is called the iniziatore, or initiator, and the person connected to the infinitive is called the esecutore, or executor. La mamma mi fa suonare il pianoforte ogni giorno. La mamma is the initiator, who is obligating the executor, me, who is the one who must play the piano, the action indicated by the infinitive suonare. Some more examples. Il dottore mi fa prendere la medicina per la pressione. La professoressa mi fa studiare tanto. Mio zio mi fa lavorare al negozio. In all of these cases, the initiator has the power to convince or even force the executor to do something. Sometimes the verb fare can even describe some kind of consequential situation, implying that something is happening that was not necessarily planned by the subject, which may not be a person at all. Le cipolle mi fanno piangere. Roberto Benigni ci fa ridere. La cioccolata la fa impazzire. Finally, there is one more construction involving fare and the infinitive that is very important. To introduce this, let's look at a sentence in English. I had my tires checked. We can identify that this sentence is a construction of a subject, a form of the verb to have, a direct object, and a past participle. We could optionally add a person designated to the action, like if we say, I had my tires checked by Fred. It is important to understand that this kind of sentence actually does not have a direct correspondent in Italian. But how then will we get people to do things for us? This is where fare plus the infinitive comes into play. The simplest examples will have only one direct object. Io non lavo le camicie. Io faccio lavare le camicie. Or io le faccio lavare. Noi non spediamo il pacco, lo facciamo spedire. Lui non dipinge la casa, lui la fa dipingere. Loro non tagliano l'erba, la fanno tagliare. Although this looks a little strange at first, once we get used to it, constructing sentences like these is not very difficult. Things do become a little trickier when we introduce a specific executor, the person designated to perform the action described by the infinitive. If we have only one object, things remain simple, as with the following. Il professore fa leggere la poesia. Il professore la fa leggere. Il professore fa leggere lo studente. Il professore lo fa leggere. In the first case, the teacher has poetry read, and in the second, the teacher has a student read. But how would we say that the teacher has the student read the poetry? This is a little more complicated, but remember, as we said, in such a case, the person will become an indirect object so that the thing can remain a direct object. Putting this to use, we have il professore fa leggere la poesia allo studente. If using pronouns, we maintain the status of each object. Il professore gli fa leggere la poesia. La fa leggere a lui. Il professore gliela fa leggere. In compound tenses, the past participle will agree with the direct object only, as it normally does. Il professore gli ha fatto leggere la poesia. Il professore l'ha fatta leggere allo studente. Il professore gliela fatta leggere. Just a couple more things to note. When fare is in the infinitive form, it is not unusual to drop the E. Voglio far visitare il cane. Devo far risuolare le scarpe. Lastly, when something is having something done for themselves, like getting a haircut or nails done, we can use farsi plus the infinitive, almost in a reflexive way. Ti fai tagliare I capelli oggi? Ti sei fatta tagliare I capelli ieri? Te li sei fatti tagliare? If the person who did the job is mentioned, that noun will be preceded by the appropriate form of da. Ti sei fatta tagliare I capelli dalla stilista? Dal parrucchiere? Dallo zio? Some more examples. Ti sei fatta fare un vestito? Vi siete fatti fare una casa? Si sono fatte fare la permanente? And that will conclude our summary of how to use fare with an infinitive. So let's check comprehension. Thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe to my channel for more tutorials. Support me on Patreon so I can keep making content. And as always, feel free to email me, ProfessorDaveExplains@gmail.com.